in my basement of my house, in the same room that Brother Stewart learned to play the drums.
Hell.
But I'm not involved with them any longer.
No, so they're not as successful as they were then.
Some would say. That's R.E.M., good Southern boys from Atlanta, Georgia. Actually, they just won the Rolling Stones Critics Award for the best new album, best new band, and best album of the year. And they're doing very well right now. That's the Go-Go's, 5 girls from Los Angeles, and we had our biggest album success for the record label with the Go-Go's. We had the biggest selling album of 1982, which actually was a little embarrassing because they were touring with the Police at the same time, supporting the Police, and whose album went to number 2, and the Go-Go's album went to number 1.
Dialed in and to the station. They talk about the U.S. inflation. I understand just a little. No comprende, it's so real.
One of the most unique and original bands that come out of America, Walla Voodoo. Stan has recently left the group, and he's...
That's Stan there.
That's Stan, and we'll see him a bit later. He's got a video with Stewart. But the group is continuing. They've got a new singer, and a new album coming out soon.
Mexican radio.
Squeeze.
Yes, the Police, actually. Mighty fine boys.
There's Sting Copeland there.
Yeah.
So why do you think it is then that the gutter press have dubbed you the hardest man in the industry?
Well, when you manage a very large group, like the Police or any other group, you're constantly being besieged by people who want you to give you the group for one reason or another. So you have to say no more times than you say yes. And for every yes I say, I must be saying no 25, 30 times. And people don't like to be told no. So unfortunately, you have to adopt a very hard position because you can't give the group away to everyone. It's impossible.
What other things might you be involved in at the moment then?
Well, we've expanded in the last year. We're involved in films now. We're managing film stars, comedians, making TV shows, making movies.
Money?
TV personalities, like yourself.
Like myself, that's right. Now, it's rumoured that in the case of the Police, you actually take 50% and they only take 50%.
That's absolutely untrue. Absolutely untrue. It's the other way around.
Fine. And it's also rumoured that you're a black belt karate expert.
Not karate, judo, actually. Yeah, I have a few artists that can attest to that, but no, judo, actually, yeah.
Well, Mr. Copeland, anything else you'd like to add?
Well, actually, here we are live TV, and I don't want to talk about this kind of stuff anymore. It's about time that somebody exposed what really goes on in this business. And I have actually a few photographs right here that will set this industry alight. And
good, great.
I think that they speak for themselves.
Should I show them? No, I'll show them next week, eh? Well, and we're going to, you're right, my God. There's all the people here who say, no, I think you introduce the next band, because they're one of your bands.
Oh, all right, well. There are friends and neighbors. Now, the next group you're going to see, you can't actually buy the record this week. It's on next week. But I'm real proud of this group because they're from my hometown, North London. They're called Yip Yip Coyote.
Yet another one of Miles Copeland's bands. And even someone more Copelander is sitting right next to me, Stuart Copeland. What's it like, your brother being your manager?
Well, I suppose it means I can trust him half the way. He actually doesn't get 50%.
You get 75%.
We get the 50%.
So, what was your first ever engagement that Miles built?
My first gig was at the American Beach Club in Beirut. In fact, Ian was my agent then. He's our agent now. This is the third brother.
Oh, that's the third brother, which we're going to see a bit later on. Yes,
that's
more
right.
of him
Miles
later.
worked the light show. This is called the Mother Eye Light Show.
Well, that's enough of Miles.
A man of many talents.
What have you been doing recently?
Recently? Well, I've been touring with the Police recently. But I've also been, this last week, I've been plugging the Rubblefish album.
which is a film by Francis Ford Coppola.
That's right, who you remember from Apocalypse Now and Godfather and that kind of stuff.
One for the Heart.
That's right.
But you've written the soundtrack.
That's right, composed, produced, and performed.
And you played all the instruments yourself?
Well, I played about 95% of it. Eventually, at the end of the day, I had to get in some strings, some for real strings, and some for real horns and stuff. You know, it is Hollywood after all.
And there's Stan Ridgway, who was in
That's right. We just saw him a minute ago.
in the Voodoo. What's it called?
Wall of Voodoo.
Wall of Voodoo. He's in the video, isn't he?
That's right. At the end of the movie, you see there's, well, at the beginning of the movie, there's no credits. So I had to do a very long piece at the end because all the credits are at the end. And to fill that amount of time, I think it was 5 or 6 minutes, I needed a song. And so I called Stan. I mean, if I could sing, I'd probably sound like that.
But you sang in some of them, didn't you?
No, I've sung on occasion, like way back in the mix sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. Way back in the mix. I sing on stage too, but I'm not in the mix at all.
Right. Well, we're going to have a look at this. What is it? It's the. Hang on.
It's the single of the album of the soundtrack of the film.
Stuart Copeland and Stan Ridgway.
Fish keeps swimming in a jar. I feel a tug on the line. Which end will I be on this time? Don't box me in. Don't box me in. One day I'll show them just what I'm made of. There'll be a time when I won't remember what I was afraid of. And I'll be swimming in the sea, no banging on this glass for me. My eyes saw red when my life turned blue, so I'm breathing everything that's true. And I'll jump into a brand new skin. And then you won't be able to box me in. Don't box me in. Don't box me in. Let go. There's a few places around that I've never been. There's an ocean out there that I gotta swim. There's a river that flows right past my door. I wonder what? Sometimes I can't seem to talk. You'll know this blackboard lacks a piece of chalk. Don't box me in. I told you not to. Don't box me in. Let go.
Well, you might think that the story of this rather sordid, messy story of Copeland's ends there, but it doesn't, because there's a larger family, isn't there? Let's speak of Mum and Dad and brother. How
Well,
can
there's
you
hundreds
stop?
of them, really.
There are hundreds of them. throughout
Cousins, aunts,
My mom's an archaeologist. It's important.
what's your
Deals with
father-
rocks.
what's
We're in
it-
rock music.
What does your father do?
My father is retired.
From what?
From what? Come on.
Government.
Be a bit more specific than
Yes,
that.
we want to know more.
He helped form the CIA, actually.
This is true. He's not.
Absolutely true.
Joshing.
True.
Maybe we should have a photograph so we can fill you in, because
Yeah.
he's a fairly mean and vicious looking
Is
man.
Mr. Copeland there?
Well, we should point out that that's him there. During the years when he was in business in Lebanon was a great place to live.
Right, ever since he left, the
then,
whole world's
place has
fallen
fallen apart.
You were brought up there then.
Well done, Pa.
What does your father think of you in the music business?
We don't ask.
Yeah.
He thinks I should be playing with a big jazz band, play some real music.
Well, he's had to give in. We have done more. We're fairly successful, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose he's really proud.
There's also allegations, of course, of a more sinister undercurrent to your business affairs because of your brother's agent's called the FBI, and your record company's called the IRS, which is, of course, the Internal Revenue Service, tax people in America. Band are called the police. You have a management company called LAPD, which could be interpreted as Los Angeles Police Department, and so forth.
Well, it was all fluke, actually. The agency is called Frontier Booking International, which just so happened to be the FBI. And the record company is called the International Record Syndicate. Happened to be the IRS. And the management company is Los Angeles Personal Direction, which happened to be LAPD. And
We're just a bunch of fascists. Actually, no, the film company is called CCCP.
that's right. Now it was sort of a joke.
When did you first spot that he could play the guitar then?
When he did Rumblefish. No, I think in the earlier days. We spotted him as a drummer first, actually. A lot of people don't know that. No, that's true.
He worked out okay, really, didn't he? The whole thing. Well, now
Much
next.
beatings as a child.
Next. How long have we got? Could you shout it out? Okay. Oh, well, we're wrapping it up now. But instead, we're going to see your other brother. When we were in New York, Leslie and I filmed, and we happened to bump into him. I believe he used to be in the Marines. Is that right?
That's right. No, he was in the Army.
He was in the Army, yeah. Anyway,
was a war
bit
hero.
of a hard man, not to be messed with, as we'll see in just a second.
Middle brother.
Ian.
Hi. This machine, of course, belongs to FBI, one of the biggest agencies in New York for music. What's it like hanging about in this thing, Leslie?
It hurts.
Does it? See, this is the type of therapy that big music people go for over here, pain and agony. See, the other thing is that all the money can drop out of people's pockets. You can pick it up and just go away. So I'll go and have a chat to some people over here. See you later then.
Jools, you bugger.
Well, Ian, being one of the biggest agents in America at the moment, at over 6'1", how would you say that because we've seen a lot of the different break dancing and dance clubs. Tell us about the other clubs in New York that you might deal with.
Well, the clubs here in New York are important to bands, American bands and English bands, and if a band's going to make it in the States, they've got to play New York, so it's got more clubs than probably anywhere else in the world except maybe London, and there's a good club scene. You've been out and around, I know from my sources and my ears out there that you've been checking out the scene. I don't know if you've been to all of the clubs where they have late night bands or so on, but they also have all the coliseums and the theater shows as well that when they empty out, kids go to the clubs.
Yeah.
So there's a good late night scene.
Do you think it's true that a lot of people say that the pace in New York is a lot faster in business and everything? Do you think that's true of the whole thing with bands?
Yeah. Clubs open and close in a week, and it's hard to know what the happening club is this week, simply because it probably closed on Friday.
It was out and done.
Yeah.
Well, we went to the Roxy, which seemed like a very busy place. Any good stories about the Roxy you could tell us?
Only the ones that I wouldn't want to tell anybody about. Things go on so late down there that by the time anyone gets down there, they're not responsible for their actions.
What time can everywhere stay open till here?
They can stay open all night. I mean, you go from one to another. You go to the concerts, and then you go to the 2 o'clock club, and then by the time you're tired of that, you go to you move across town to the 3 o'clock scene and so on. And there are places that cater to 7 o'clock in the morning. You're not expected to show up there until it's until the sun's up.
How about the stories that some people say about some parts of New York being incredibly dangerous to walk through at night?
I guess I wouldn't want to be in some parts of every city in the world. Every city's got places you don't want to go. But I'd go everywhere anyway, and you get a cab right outside the front door and drive to the next club. You know?
Yeah. Now, I've noticed on your desk here, as well as a number of interesting things on your desk, are these binoculars, because the other thing about New York, of course, is the enormously high buildings. Maybe we could just go to the window for a second and you could demonstrate what you would use these binoculars for. I mean, obviously you're on the phone busy a lot of the time.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I use those binoculars to check out and make sure that the tickets are selling down there on Broadway.
Yeah?
And see what shows are doing well and so on. I use that to monitor the New York scene.
Yeah, as you can see out the window.
You can see Katz is doing quite well there, actually. They're lining up outside there.
Yeah. Because the other thing is that it's really not on at all, is it, to throw things out of windows?
Well, not unless you mean business, because if you hit someone from up here, it's going to cause some damage.
Because in London, I mean, it's accepted that people might gob out the window at you and get you on the head or something. But
they do that all the time, yeah.
Here, you're talking about splitting somebody's head open.
Right.
With the slightest bit of spiffle. Well,
and there's a good chance that they could be Sicilian and come up here and take care of you real quick.
Yeah, is the mafia big here?
Oh, very big, yeah.
In the rock and roll circuit as well?
Yeah, I booked them around town, you know, I put them in all the clubs, late night clubs.
Yeah, because I've got my Sicilian get-up on today. Well, I think that we should now go.
I want you to be careful with that there, Jools. I see you're handling one of my most important instruments here.
Oh, yes, I could see.
I reserve that only for the most important decisions.
I see. All right, let's just turn it on. Have you got a close-up on that now, Mr. Cameraman? Yes, I have. Well, the question we're going to now ask, so this is whether should I book the police into Madison Square Garden or wherever?
Yeah, well, that's the machine that gave me the decision to play Squeeze at Madison Square Garden.
Fair enough.
Everyone thought I was crazy.
That's right.
I just pushed the button.
Well, we won't ask it that. What we shall ask it is, should we because Leslie's hanging off of your machine. You obviously haven't, I wouldn't say you have a lot of leisure time. Here we go then. Should we let Leslie out of the machine? Oh, well, it's a bit indecisive. It said ask again. Make a decision. Possibly. Well, it's getting very indecisive here. There we are. It's definitely. Fair enough. Well, we're going to get Leslie going. Cheers, Ian.
Okay. See you later, Jools.
Well, enough of the topsy-turvy world of rock and roll. That's more or less the end of the profile on the Copeland Brothers, but I don't think you'll have heard it all. So now, we're going to throw over to who?
Well, Muriel. Are you there, Muriel?
Throw over to Muriel, so she can link you into a band.